mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you, of course, are still the longest reigning WWE Champion in SmackDown television history. And that was, of course, from June of 2004 to April of 2005. And we actually had a discussion on one of our podcasts recently about, and I know you have a very busy schedule and have a ton going on, but there's kind of a situation going on in WWE right now where there's a lot of guys, going down with injuries, and there's, there's opportunities for people to step up. And, your run as champion had to have been one of the most analyzed, I would think, in decades, just from a perspective of, and I remember going on message boards and people going, JBL is WWE, and this is when you went on that big transformation from when you were, Bradshaw and everybody remembered you like that, to this transformation is kind of this almost basically who you are anyway, but just kind of with the volume kind of kicked up a little bit. And I remember the stark criticism tossed your way, and I remember you doing stuff where you would, I believe you were doing some column stuff for WWE.com at the time, and you were kind of going back at the criticism that was coming your way, and we were talking about how, there was pressure, to take on a role like that. Of course, there was stories about Eddie Guerrero, how he felt immense pressure as WWE Champion when he won his title earlier that year in February from Brock Lesnar, and how for a couple months there he almost took he felt like he was the reason why ratings dropped, and a lot of people would disagree with that. But what was that like, that run you had where it was a long run as champion? You were the focal point, you were the central character of that television show for almost a year at that point. What was your reaction when you saw some of that criticism tossed your way, and was that a goal of yours to kind of get out there and say, listen, calm down and let's just let this play out before you start pointing the finger at me and making kind of rather stark criticism towards your way?
Actually, it was just the opposite. I right before pay-per-views, I'd always put out something on the internet, and I'd try to upset just as many people as I could and create as much buzz as I could. And it was really successful for a while. People were thinking that I was shooting with them and really upset at the fans, and I wasn't. They have a right to their opinion, and I felt that way at the time. I was always trying to figure out a way right before a pay-per-view to put out something that would upset people on the internet and get them interested in promoting what we were doing. And then after a while, they realized, I was just being the JBL character, and it quit working. So a lot of that had to do, me fighting back was not me fighting back against fans. It was a strategy that we had to try to get fans talking about it. And there was a lot of negative talk, which is fine. I propagated a lot of that myself. And I'm sure some of it was deserved. I was a upper mid-card guy for a long time, and I got into that situation due to luck. Big Show got hurt. Undertaker was hurt. Brock Lesnar had just left the company. Kurt Angle was hurt, and they needed somebody right away to fight against Eddie Guerrero. And I'd had this JBL character in mind for some time, and they didn't want me to do it because I was doing so much with the troops, and they enjoyed me doing all this stuff outside of wrestling. So I was forced down people's throat pretty fast. And for several weeks, it didn't work at all. Thank goodness I had Eddie Guerrero, and we did the heart attack angle with his mother in El Paso, which really put the feud over the edge. And I was very lucky for that. If it had been anybody else, I'm not sure the JBL character would have succeeded. And so a lot of it, it's one of those things where you're happy people are talking about you. And I was ecstatic that people were, whether they were very negative or very positive, they were talking about me. And a lot of that I was trying to foster. And for a while, people bit into it, and then they realized that I was just trying to stir them up, and they kind of quit for a while. So, whatever they think now is their opinion, and I'm glad they think one thing or the other.
Sign up now to become a Wrestleview VIP for only $4.99 per month. Visit VIP.wrestleview.com for more details.